I'm Jahlon. This is the Paradox Gaming Network, and today we are talking about Ashes of Creation. And I'm not even waiting, we're jumping right in. We're going to take a look at this beautiful video clip that we got on Freeholds. This is going to be available on the Ashes of Creation YouTube channel in its entirety. Highly recommend you go check it out because it's a lot different of an experience when you can see it, be immersed in it with the music. If you're new to Ashes of Creation, Freeholds are the open world housing that's available to players. There's two types of open world housing. I don't want to dive into housing. If you want to know more, there's a video up there in the corner. You can click on that. It's going to take you to my video introduction to Ashes of Creation housing. It is a little bit old. I am working on updating it. Until then, if you want text, down in the description below, that'll take you to my website, which has a text article on housing. Let's get back into this video. This is absolutely the snippet that we've been needing about housing for a long time. Open world housing, it's been a huge hit in other games. Housing is a predominant feature in ArcheAge, in Final Fantasy XIV. I've seen it in Rift, I've seen it in a ton of games. So a lot of people, from the first time they got introduced to Freeholds, they've been excited for it. Now to let you know what Freeholds used to look like, this is a little pre-alpha footage from what we saw a couple of years ago, and this was good enough to stoke the fires people had. It really got people excited for the housing. And yes, we've seen the graphics passes get better, but this still showed the potential the game had. If you want to see this entire video, that'll be linked in the description below as well. And now as we do a side-by-side comparison, like I did in the graphics video I pushed out last week, you can really see the development has come a long way since Ashes of Creation entered early development back in 2016, 2017. Now, what we're seeing in this video is a bunch of stuff. You can see right in the middle, you see a house, and this is going to be the center point for a lot of people's freeholds, but it doesn't have to be. You can choose to put a house on your property. Inside that house, you're going to have the freedom to decorate it. You're going to be able to place furniture and all sorts of other bits and pieces. Furniture is going to be a crafting profession. So not only are you going to be making things for looks, but you're also going to be accumulating some bonuses based on the furniture that you choose. You're also going to be able to put in custom artwork. You saw that portrait of Stephen on the wall. Originally, Intrepid said we weren't going to be allowed to do user custom crests because they didn't want to give the players the freedom to upload anything they wanted. But Intrepid is using community-driven development, and the community spoke and Intrepid listened. So we are now going to be able to upload our own user crests into our artwork. Now, this does come with a little bit of a warning for the community, and I'll say it first. Be responsible and don't ruin it for everybody else. You know what's appropriate, you know what's not. So keep your hentai, keep your XXX porn off the server, or the truth is, you're probably going to get banned. Steven has said in the past that he's not afraid to permaban hackers, cheaters, exploiters, botters, dupers. So he's probably not going to be afraid to, ban hammer people who are ruining the community. Keep that in mind. Now, on this piece of property, there's a lot of things at work here. You saw the horses, you see the animals, the stables behind that. We start to see the animal husbandry at work here. We do have some details on animal husbandry. You're going to be able to come up with a combination of animals, and you'll be able to create some different combinations if you're looking to pull a specific trait out of the animals. Now, there will be some RNG to this. But the more experience you have in animal husbandry, the more likely you are to proc the trait that you want. You also see here, you see some farmland on the freehold. Farming is going to be a key part of Ashes as well. The artisan system is fairly well thought out. I do have a video up on that as well. It is also dated. I'm waiting on some more information. But we know that crops are going to be a key part of Ashes. It's going to be a seasonal rotation system. Your yield will be based not only on the seedlings you use, but also on your tools. And of course, if you want to dedicate more than just one corner of your freehold to farming, you can do that. You don't have to have an animal pasture. You could have 2 farm plots. You also saw a small pond on the freehold. That's not just a decoration. That pond is a different type of farmable area. That's a fishery. It's also a processing station. It's not just a gathering spot. So you'll be able to customize what fish products you get. We don't have a lot of details on that, but Steven does like to leak a little bit, and then information usually comes a little bit after that, or next month's Q&A. Don't be afraid to put a question in about fishing. Also, when I get my chance to interview Steven again, you can guarantee that I've already got like 10 questions on freeholds. I want to let people know that the freehold is going to be a grid system. Different things are going to take up different sizes. You will be limited by what you can not only place on the freehold, but how you can Tetris it in. We've known about the Tetris rotational layout for a while. And this is important because part of Ash's design philosophy is that choice matters. And your choice will matter not only because you can only have one freehold per account, but that's across all servers, all characters. So you get exactly one freehold per account to do what you want. All right, guys, now I want to talk a little bit about caravans. We saw caravans in the stream today. And Steven once again reiterated that caravans are going to be customizable. So you're going to be picking things like wheels, axles, armor, maneuvering speed, hit points, damage mitigation. All of these things can be upgraded in your caravan. Up there, yep, Ash's 101 on caravans, everything we know. And I got to get that one updated now with some of this new stuff. We're gonna continue to see the concept art grow into actual tangible items. So we've seen some concept art in the past. We've seen some design art today. We've even seen an early version of it in the Alpha 1 preview. Now, caravans are a huge part of Ashes, so they have to be done right. If you remember, a person can only carry a finite amount of stuff. If they want to carry more than that, they need to use a mule. If they want to carry more than that, they need to use a caravan. One important part of Ashes is that the continents are separated by a vast body of water. So there are going to be times where you need to move your stuff from point A to point B, and that includes a trip over the water. One thing we haven't seen yet, but we have been told about, is that when your ground caravan reaches the water, it's going to go through a short transformation period where it will then become a transport ship. When you are done on the water and you need to go from the water back to the land, it's going to have to go back through another transformation to be a ground caravan. We learned today an important feature of the caravan system. When you're making those transitions, you're extra vulnerable because while you're a structure, rocking a wagon to a ship or a ship to a wagon, you don't gain the benefits of your increased stats. So that's going to be the time where you're most vulnerable to ambush and getting your caravan stolen. If you guys want to know more about the caravan system, the PvP part of that, there's a link in the description below on that. Now, I will tell you, one of the huge benefits for all the support I get from you guys, all those subscribes, all those likes, all those comments, is that Steven quite often will, let me put a buzz in his ear and ask a clarification question. And I did that today. And I asked, are the only ships we're going to have the ones that are mentioned, or are there going to be merchant ships? Now, I don't want to go too far into what Steven told me about merchant ships because I don't want to box him in and commit him to anything, but he does have an idea of specifically merchant ships that can only be spawned at harbors. And this goes with the other naval content we already know about. We know that there's going to be small solo content for boats that's like 1 to 3 people. There's going to be medium-sized boats for group content that's going to be a party of 8. And then there's going to be large boats with a 40-person crew. And we also know that there's some sailoring skill trees that will develop in parallel with your main class skill trees. So not only can you be a mage, but you can be a mage who's a good gunner, or you can be a tank who's a good navigator, or a cleric who's good on the ship rigging. So there's going to be a lot of things that you develop, not just vertical progression, but horizontal progression as well. Before we go any further into stuff we learned today, I do want to remind you guys that there is a playthrough tomorrow. So if you want to see some footage live of Ashes of Creation, Steven's going to be streaming it. You can venture over to the Twitch channel at 1300 Pacific tomorrow. I will put a link to that in the description below as well. This description is going to have a lot of stuff in it. So some other bits and pieces we saw today, we saw the creation of a female set of armor and how it compares to the concept art. I think this is incredibly important. A lot of times in a lot of games, the female gender cosmetics and armor and appearance is kind of just glazed over. I do like the fact that Intrepid is taking the time to really differentiate between male and female characters. I want to take this time as well. I want to show this waterfall. I love this waterfall for many reasons. The big one is that I love water. I love waterfalls. I find water lacking in a lot of games. They're improving the quality of the graphics and the environment, but they're giving you more graphic fidelity at less resources. This was proven once before. Bacon had showed us the ocean and the beach, and now we're seeing it again with the waterfalls. Before we jump into the Q&A, I do want to tell you guys that the Phoenix Initiative testing of the pre-alpha has started. The PI people did their playthrough yesterday. They've been told that they can talk about their experiences, both in text or verbally. You can jump into chat with some of them, but they can't show visuals. But that's okay, because I got some visuals for you. This come out from Steven. I think this was really cool that he shared this little clip. A lot of people don't believe that Ashes of Creation is a viable MMO. They think it's falling into that realm of all the other games that are just, you know, false promises and smoke and mirrors. I think the first group of people being in there and showing that live, you can zoom in, you can see people. That was really important. Now, before we move on, I want to remind you to check out Ashes 101 for all your informational needs about Ashes. It's a combination classroom and textbook with both videos and articles. And I usually don't do this, but I do want to remind you guys, a lot of you have been hitting me with the, I didn't know you did a video. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. It's a two-part process. You have to subscribe if you want to even get me into your feed, but you got to make sure you hit the bell and ask for all notifications. A lot of you that are subscribed to me, you miss new videos because that bell isn't rung, and I see that only about 9.8% of you on my channel have that rung. Make sure you flip that over right now, and that'll make sure you don't miss any of the videos. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drop into the classroom. The classroom, my comfort zone. I do want to thank you guys for pushing me and motivating me to get away from the PowerPoint for at least half the video. If you think today's video format worked better, let me know. I just think Q&A works better in a text format, so we're focusing on the information, not all the shinies on the screen. But that's what comments are for. You let me know. First question out of the box. How are you going to prevent one-shots? This is all in the build. What happens here is if they set a goal for a 30-second time to kill, then that's what they're building for. They will baseline do that off their Excel spreadsheet, their tabletop version of how things work. Then they will put it into game, and then they will test it, and then we will get it, and then it'll be tested and tested and tested and tested, and we'll keep testing it. That's what continual process improvement is. Now, I want players to realize that just because the goal is a 30-second time to kill, that doesn't mean players might not build themselves into a one-shot state. If you were to do something silly like go glass cannon, and you take every single damage increase ability, and you neglect to take any damage reduction abilities, then yes, you may be a character with a massive damage output potential, but you've gone glass cannon, so you can in fact be one shot. They are giving you a lot of freedom over your build. Build responsibly. Next up, this question was asked so many times, so I'm gonna just insert a little bit of extra hype. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, when are you switching to Unreal Engine 5? Slow down. They're evaluating it. They've said this several times. Now I'm telling you what they said. When they have an answer, they will share it. There is no definitive answer right now because they don't know what Unreal Engine 5 brings to the table for them. They don't know if it's compatible with all their tools. They don't know if it's compatible with all the things they've changed. I know a lot of people have said it is. A lot of people have said it might be. Here's the thing. Even the people who work in the game development industry, unless you're working for Intrepid, you don't specifically know how this change affects them. So they are looking at it. Of course they're looking at it. Like, they're not looking at Unreal Engine 5 as an upgrade. But it's still some time before it's even available for developers. So calm down on Unreal Engine 5. Next up, last month we found out that gatherables and craftables are locked upon siege declaration. So the moment somebody goes to your node and throws down a siege declaration flag, this stuff gets locked into the node. So me being me, so how do you craft? Well, what it is that the siege crafting station is in the node. So siege engines, walls, gates, anything you need for the siege, you will be able to access that station and craft from the repository of materials. Now, I am going to assume that this means from your personal inventory as well as like the node bank. Since it all gets locked, I wouldn't be able to transfer it. But I will follow up with Steven on this when I interview him. And what I really need is I need a lot of comments right now that says Jahlon interview 2. That way I can just like poke at them and be like, yeah, let's get it set up. Will there be text emotes? So example, /me rages at the stupid questions in the forums. And then in chat for everybody to see, Jahlon rages at the stupid questions in the forums. Guys, ask better questions. I say this almost every other Q&A. I am going to give mad props. Toast, you are amazing at how much work you put forth into answering those questions. I used to try to do that like a little bit. Like I used to try to hit like the softballs to the questions that were easy to answer. You do an amazing job, Toast. So take a bow, coffee and biscotti on my tab. To everybody else, people, do some research. Make Toast's job easy. Come into the Discord. We love new people. Ask us a question. Unknown, Lex, myself, Shaz, a bunch of people. Not only will we give you the answer, we will give you the quote. We will give you the citation. Let's talk about, well, NPCs give you gifts like in Animal Crossing. No, because this is an Animal Crossing. This is an MMO. You will earn reputation in social organizations, societies. They said that. I'm adding religions because I'm pretty sure it's going to be religions as well. Your achievements, your status will yield access to stuff. What kind of stuff? We don't know. Augments, equipment that you can buy. We don't know. But that was a good question to get an answer, but it was a really bad question. Why are there no casting bars? All the footage we've seen, there's no casting bars. They'll be added later. It's okay. Will the weapons stay in the player's hands when casting? Right now they disappear. It depends. And here's the reason why. There's lots of classes, lots of abilities. Any class can use any weapon. So that's a lot of different animations for one ability. And they want to keep their scope sane. I want to break this down math-wise for you. So you have a mage. They have a fireball. That's one ability. 21 different weapons that the mage can use. So that means taking the same fireball animation and tweaking it and altering it and putting hands on it 21 different times. Plus augments times 8. So that's now up to a potential 168 animation variants for one ability. Just one ability. 50 abilities per class, estimated. That's my personal estimate. We know that we're going to have less than 30 on the bar at one time, but we know that we're going to be able to take 75% of our build as action or 75% as tab. So figuring that there's roughly 50 abilities per class, that's 8,400 animations per class. Based on each ability getting its own weapon with all its augments from all of its subclasses. And I could actually cheat and I could times that by 4 more because I only did one augment, but there's actually 4 augments per secondary archetype, plus a lot of other augments. I'm keeping the number simple because we don't have to have the Nobel Prize in animation economics. When we do 8 classes, that's 67,200 animations just because we want the character to not put down their weapons. Does it look kind of janky? Sure. Do we as players have to accept a little bit of jank if it makes the game come out in a reasonable amount of time? Yes. If it's completely immersion breaking for you, just remember most classes you only get to use one weapon. Moving back to the Q&A. This is a question I love Steven, and I love the way that in the community he will answer questions and then sometimes he's not afraid to punt. So good on you, Steven. You've grown a lot in the 3 years that we've known you. What are the stack limits for inventory? I know where this question was coming from. It wasn't my question. Unknown asked this question, and the answer we got during the stream wasn't exactly what we were looking for. The answer we got is for consumables, they're going to be based on quantity. And they can be different per item. So you might be able to have a stack of 100 potions, but a stack of 999 food. Now for gatherables, and this is really what we wanted, and they gave us an answer. And then they gave us a follow-up answer in the Discord because you got to remember when they're getting the questions cold on stream, They don't necessarily always understand the context. And so we've been asking, is it a matter of quantity or weight? And when posed the question a different way, the answer we got from Stephen was, we are working on it and different methods are going to be tested. So is it quantity? Is it weight? Is it each quantity is a weight and then it wouldn't matter? Is it quantity or volume? Different methods are going to be tested. And so I applaud Stephen for punting, because a lot of people take every single thing that he says, I'm one of them, as gospel, because we like to hold people's feet to the fire. Will there be best in slot? Yes, of course. Again, this is just one of those questions where not quite the question wasn't good, but the answer we got was good. Of course, there's best in slot. There's always going to be best in slot. There's always going to be meta. That's what the terms mean. Different roles will have different best in slots, depending on how you spec out your build, what you want to do with your character. Maybe I want to be a really tanky cleric, so I go sword and board, and I go with the sword that gives me the most stamina and the most damage reduction. Okay, so my best in slot as a tanky cleric is one build for one meta. But you want to be the most exceptional Healy cleric ever, and you want to sacrifice a little bit of survivability for Healy. You might use a different weapon. You might use a staff, or you might use a wand, or you might use a wand that has plus healing percentage. So yes, there's going to be best in slots, but it's going to be based on what you're trying to do. Now, the cool part is the other part was versus certain monsters. Monsters will have weaknesses. Classes will use weapon combos that exploit those weaknesses. So your class and weapon combo, remember 21 weapons, might be really good at hunting X mob. So you might be a cleric that uses a wand, and you might be really good at killing deer. So you travel the world looking for places that have exotic deer because you exploit that weakness. I made up all of those examples. Just go with it. Big question a lot of people keep asking. We're finally going to nail this one and let this one be done. Will the racial skins make your race look different? Yes, because it's a racial skin. You will look like the new race. You will look like an angel, a demon, or an elemental. You will not look like a Vec angel. You will not look like a Renkai angel. You will look like an angel. It's a racial skin. Guys, look me right up here. It's a racial skin. It doesn't give you any new abilities. It's not pay to win. You don't get infernal powers, angelic powers because you have that skin on. You just look cool. Will there be fall damage? Yes. Can you change your stats? I love this question. This question is great. So the answer is not directly anymore. And that is a design change. And it's a follow-up to a design change that we already knew about. Take you back in time a little bit. You get your primary archetype. And then at a certain level, right now tentatively to be right around 30, subject to change, you get to pick a secondary archetype. And then together, they form your class. So it used to be that the secondary archetype gave you stats. They've changed that, and now your primary archetype gives you all of your stats. A long time ago, like 2016, you used to be able to get points to put them into your stats, and you could basically change your individual stat allocation. And they decided, no, that is way too many variables. We're just going to go with a fixed stat route. But with that said, how do you give players control over their character for tweaking? Well, number one, your gear changes it. If you guys remember, and I've dug into gear before, you're going to have standard crafters who can make very standard armor. And then you're going to have people who do their job and they go into their social organizations. And then you're going to get crafters that get special dials and special wheels, and they can put stats on armor not normally found on that armor. Give you a real quick example. You might have a blacksmith who can make plate armor, and plus intelligence may not be a common stat found on plate armor. But this particular crafter has joined the Scholars Guild. He knows how to put a crafting wheel or a selection on his crafting dial that lets him put intelligence on plate armor. So that's going to be one way that you can change your stats by finding really good specialized craftsmen who have access to all the exotic dials. Another one is potions and tattoos will change it. Tattoos allow you to plus up one stat at the cost of another. So it's not just infinite growth, it's decisions. I want this, I don't want that. And then potions are the same way. You will be able to reduce stats down in order to up other stats up. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, I want more. I want to know how to min-max. We don't have more. When I have more, I'll let you know. And with that, guys, that is it for today. I am going to tell you, if you have not made your account yet, go and make your account right now. They're going to be giving away this statue to all of the people who have accounts. I don't know what the cutoff date is, so stop right now, go make your account. Now, if you're going to make your account, I am going to ask you to please consider using my referral link. It costs you absolutely nothing, but 15% of your purchases, including your monthly sub when the game launches, helps the Paradox Gaming Network because it fills up my slush fund. It helps me pay for silly things like, oh, I don't know, the corporation formation and the website and the domain names, and most of all, giveaways. Most of the money I get goes back to the giveaways. I just need to I need to separate myself from my business, form a corporation, and then it needs to have its own pile of money. And then, of course, when I go back to streaming, I'll be doing giveaways out of my own pocket. And finally, if you guys ever need me, as you can see on the screen, I am Jahlon #0001 on Discord. I'm on Discord like 16 hours a day. Feel free to PM me. Send me a message. We can talk. You don't need to friend me. I accept all incoming messages. Just message me. Find me on the official Discord. Join my Discord. Hit me up on any of the social media platforms I'm on. Leave a comment on this video. Do whatever you need to do to get in touch with me. Anyway, guys, I got a lot of post-production to do. I'm going to do that. You stay safe and make sure you tune in tomorrow for that live play with Steven and make Steven earn his spurs as a streamer. You guys take care. What are you still doing here? Nobody ever stays this long. This is the end screen. Well, since you're here, there's a couple other videos I think you should check out. And all those names, those are my patrons over at Patreon. I couldn't do this without them. So, big thanks to them for all their support.